My son, baby Brown, is almost 6 months old now, which means he needs a cot ready for when we move him into his own bedroom, and I'm going to be using some slabs of beech that I have stored, which are all very twisted and warped, so milling them up into smaller boards is going to be putting them to good use. I'll need a straight edge on these first so that I can safely run them through the table saw, and beech is the perfect wood for baby projects in my opinion. It's known for being non-toxic, food safe, and it's hard, strong and durable. And then it was on to milling. This was my first project using my new planer thicknesser. I'm also going to need loads of thin pieces to use as slats, and I cut them oversized, and I cut more than I thought I'd need because I knew that even though this wood is very dry, cutting the boards is going to release tension in the grain, which means some of them are likely to bend out of shape. Just the milling process on this project took me an entire day. I'm going to start by making the panels, which will also double up as legs for the cot, and the framing pieces will have mitered corners. The panels will have upright slats, so here I'm marking up the spacings for them on the inside of the top and bottom rails. There's loads of information online about things like the recommended spacings you should use between slats in order for it to be baby safe, and I'll talk more about that stuff later in the video. For the joinery, here I'm using 5mm floating tenons or dominoes, but I wanted to suggest an alternative method as not everyone has a domino, and it's a method I was considering using myself, which is to cut a housing joint or dado down the centre of the rails, and then cutting out lots of spacers which can be glued in place between the slats to lock them in place. And you could leave a bit of a reveal so that you don't need to worry about the challenge of getting them all perfectly flush with the face of the rail. I think that would work really well, but using dominoes is obviously a time saver. Gluing up these panels and getting all the slats to seat properly was bound to be problematic, so I'm going to make things easier by gluing the dominoes into the rails first, and then waiting for the glue to set before I tackle the rest of the assembly. And I follow the same process again to prepare what will be the front and back panels, which are basically the same as the end panels but longer, less wide, and using thinner timbers for the frame. To join the mitered corners, I'm using two bigger 8mm dominoes as I want to make sure they are nice and strong. I don't usually do dry fits, usually opting to fly by the seat of my pants and then regret it later, but I need to this time as I need to know the exact length for the slats, as if I cut them too long, the glue up simply won't work, and if they're too short, I'll be left with nasty gaps. It's times like these when you really need a drum sander, but sanding 4 slats at a time with them on a flat surface sped the process up a bit. Obviously with this being for a baby, it's vital that there are no sharp splintery edges, so I fitted a chamfer bit in the router table so that I can ease over the corners on all 4 sides. Next I made this jig from some scraps of ply, and this is going to help me locate my mortises into the centre at each end of the slats. I added a bit on the bottom so that I could fit it into the vise, and then as you can see the slat fits nicely inside, and then the body of the domino locates itself centred to the end of the slat. I was pretty pleased with myself for coming up with this, and the project was all going so well, but don't worry, there'll be some howling mistakes later, as there always is. Onto assembly of the panels then, and fitting the first ends of the slats to the already fixed in place dominoes was simple. It was fitting the other ends that was more challenging, as they kept wanting to pop out. Then I could get the miters joined together and get some clamps on. And I checked for square by measuring corner to corner. It's now a new day and I've just discovered a problem. Originally when I did a drawing for this project, I planned the cot around a 60 by 120 centimetre mattress, which is kind of like your standard cot size. And that's meant to last about 2 to 3 years on average, but then I discovered there was a slightly bigger size which measured 70 by 140, and that's supposed to last on average about 4 years. So I thought, well, I may as well make the cot a little bit bigger and get a little bit more use out of it. And that basically means that these panels should measure 700 millimeters in width. So why then does it measure only 600? I figured out where I went wrong. Basically, when I adapted the drawing from the smaller size to the larger size, I seem to have adapted the length of the cot accordingly, but not the width of the cot. I must have just got distracted or something and thought that I'd already done it. Anyway, a couple of weeks passed and I was finally ready to start the project. So I went into the drawing, took note of all of the dimensions to bring into the workshop, and on here it says 600. So clearly I thought that I had adapted the drawing fully, but I hadn't. And this is a little bit devastating, but I can see only one solution here. And that is to cut down the length of my rails for the side panels to fit that smaller mattress size. So if I measure up from the end, I know that I'm going to need these rails to be 1,280 mil, but it's not as straightforward as that, because if I make this cut here, I'm then only going to have a gap of around 20 millimeters between this slat and the upright rail that will be placed here. And that would be a smaller gap than I have on this side, so it just isn't going to look right. So I'm going to need to take about 8 mil off this end first, and I'll need to add 8 mil to this end. And I'll also need to recut these mortises. So I chopped off the ends, but the difficulty came when needing to recut the mortises. The first issue was that my marks no longer met up, meaning that cutting the new mortises is basically going to clash with the mortises that are already there. The second issue was that I also needed to match the exact height position of the fence on the domino as I used for the original mortises, as if not, the miters won't go together with the faces of each board being perfectly flush. If I'd have thought about this more at the time, I could have cut a little more off this end and a little less off this end. That would have been a better solution for resolving the first issue, although it wouldn't have helped with the second issue. I expected these longer panels to be even more difficult to get together than the end panels, but actually they were easier. I'm not sure why. I don't know whether it was down to good luck or some kind of science. Since getting rid of my miter saw and using the table saw to cut miters, I've had perfect looking tight joints every time. I'm going to round over the corners on all the panels just to soften the look of them a bit, and again, obviously sharp edges and babies isn't a great combination. And I'll chamfer the edges of the panels too. Here's another dry assembly. I'm getting the panels clamped together so that I can accurately measure the inside for the next two components that I need to make. The first of which is a base for the mattress, so I'll need some bed slats, and for that I'll use some salvaged bed slats. I always seem to have a few of these knocking around the workshop, but I think this is the first time I've used them as bed slats. I also milled up some more beech into 2 rails which will support the slats. And at the router table I want to cut a rebate which will accommodate the end of the slats. I can then get the slats cut to length and I'll fix them in place with screws. No glue here, as I want to be able to replace these in future if any of them break, which is unlikely considering the span is going to be so short, but still, it's good practice. That's the mattress base done, and the next component is a drawer box, as we really need more storage in Baby Brown's room. I've got 18mm softwood ply. It's not the birch plywood that I'd prefer to use for such a project, but to be fair, the face ply on this was actually really clean with no knots. I'm basically making a box for a drawer to fit inside, and I'll join this together with dominoes too. And while I'm waiting for the glue to dry, I can start making the drawer using some 12mm hardwood ply, which also isn't great quality. It has a face veneer thinner than my patience is worn when I'm trying to peel a label off plywood. So I cut the drawer sides, and using a straight bit in the router table, I cut a rebate on all 4 boards which will accommodate the bottom panel. I assemble with glue and pins, and then I can measure up for my drawer bottom, and for that I'll use 9mm plywood, as this drawer is pretty big. Nothing heavy is going to be stored in it, but still, the drawer could use some extra rigidity. I'm going to use more of these bed slats to create a base for the bottom of the drawer box. This will never be seen when the cot is set up. It'll just provide some extra support, prevent sagging, and create a shadow gap under the cot. I'm adding a back panel to the box too, which is just a friction fit, but with glue and pinned in place. It was actually a mistake adding this so early, as later on I'll need access to the inside of the drawer box, which will make life a little bit difficult later on when it comes to assembling. I went and got some 550mm full extension drawer runners so I can get those fitted. There were lots of voids in this poor quality plywood, so I got the filler out. I'm going to apply a dark oak dye to the plywood, as I want the drawer box on the inside of the cot to be dark and contrast with the light colour of the beech. I'm using a dye by Liberon here, and they make palette dyes and spirit dyes in the same colours, and it's the palette dye I'm using here as I find it works better on softwood. It's less blotchy. I apply it with a brush and then wipe away the excess. And then I'm applying 3 coats of water-based varnish over the dye to protect it. Once dry and in between coats, I denib with 400 grit wet and dry paper before applying the next. And I milled up yet more beech to make the drawer front. These pieces are 12mm thick, and I decided to do a bit of a book match design with the grain pattern here. And I chamfer the edges on that too. Before I can fit the drawer front, I need to start working on how this is all going to be fixed together. I want the cot to be dismantleable, but I also don't want any visible fixings on the outside of the cot. The first mounting point will be through the drawer box into the end panels, so I want to drive in some of these insert nuts that take an M8 bolt. Unfortunately though, these were absolutely rubbish quality. They broke apart when I drove them in. I ended up having to cut them off with a hacksaw. Luckily though, the threaded part that takes the bolt was embedded in the wood and working fine, so I ended up just sanding the surface to clean it up a bit, but it was still very disappointing. 3 out of 4 of these broke in the end. Anyway, with the end panels fixed in place, I can add the drawer front. The next component are these side rails. I milled these up at the same time as the drawer front because I want them to be the same thickness, and I bought some of these angle plates to secure them. First though, I need to ream out 2 of the holes on each of them to accept an M6 bolt. Then I can get it offered up with some spaces in between and mark a line where the plates need to be secured. I didn't have any screws that were short enough to hand, so I used some brass washers just to pack them out a bit. I can then mark the position of the holes so I can drill out for some M6 insert nuts, and unlike the M8 ones, these are not poor quality and they went in fine. I want my mattress base to be height adjustable into 3 positions, so here I'm marking out where I want to create some supports for it. That way, as baby grows bigger, we can drop the mattress lower inside the cot. And I want 2 pieces to be identical, so I clamp them together to drill out a hole at each end. These get chamfered too, and I can get more M6 insert nuts added ready to fit them. And I bought some of these fixings to fit the side panels to the end panels. These are going to allow the cot to convert to a toddler bed when baby Brown is older, so that I can simply remove the side panels when needed. I used a scrap of plywood just to practice fitting these, and I found that 2 lines spaced 35mm apart gave me 2 crosshairs for drilling out with a 22mm spade bit, and I can use that same bit to clear some waste in the middle, followed by a little chiselling to create the perfect recess. One of these buttons with a spike on was provided in the kit so that it can be fitted to one of the button mounts, and then the panel can be offered up in place, and I hit it with a mallet to create an indentation which I can then drill out to fit the buttons. For finish, I'm using water-based varnish, and I'm applying it by spray gun, as getting into all the nooks and crannies with a brush would have been a pain. After the first coat, I denib with some 400 grit and then apply a second and third coat. I went through a lot of varnish here, but it did save me a lot of time. I added my maker's mark to the bottom of the drawer box, and then it was ready to install. We've got the mattress base set to its highest setting at the moment. That just means it's easier to get baby Brown in and out of the cot without waking him up. Obviously, as he develops, we'll drop it down, and then we'll drop it down to its lowest setting, which is actually with the mattress base sitting directly on top of the drawer box. But I designed the base so that there's still good ventilation underneath the mattress. Understandably, there are loads of regulations and safety advice to ensure that cots are safe, and as such, I couldn't recommend that anyone takes on this project unless you're prepared to do loads of research. Some things that you need to be conscious of include the maximum distance between slats on the side panels, the minimum distance between the top of the mattress and the sides of the cot when the mattress is at its lowest height setting, and that the mattress is a snug fit inside the frame with no gaps around it. There's a reason why I've not shared any specific measurements in this video, and also why I won't be making plans available for this project, and that's because my channel has viewers all over the world and I'm not familiar with where regulations might differ. But also, anyone taking on a project like this really needs to do their own research and not just trust some stranger on the internet. I designed and built the cot to be way stronger than it needs to be. It's heavier and much better quality than anything I'd be able to buy. The fixings that I used on the side panels are very secure and very strong. Anyone who's used these before will know that. They're rated at about 350 kilogram per fixing. And it's not even particularly easy for me to remove the side panels, so I don't have any safety concerns here. Obviously, I'm not going to put my own son at any risk, but regardless, this was a personal choice and it's not something I would necessarily recommend that anyone else do. The project took me about 44 hours in total, so about 6 days work, which is much longer than I spend on most projects, and that's without all of the designing that happened prior to the build. I wanted everything to be done to the best of my ability, and yet obviously I still made some big mistakes, and there are numerous things I would change about this if I were to build it again. But I am happy with it, I am proud of it, and I think it's going to serve us well. Thank you for watching.